Hello, I'm Ross Constable and this is the latest instalment in my Test It, Trust It series. Over time you may grow fond of your PPE, but at some point you're going to have to let go and replace it. In this video I'll be talking about appropriate times to replace your PPE, especially when there's been an incident or a near miss. In some of my previous Test It, Trust It videos, I've touched on certain situations that would require PPE to be replaced. For example, when the sole of an anti-static footwear has become permanently soiled. Sometimes it's obvious that PPE should be replaced simply because it looks like it no longer performs as intended. But other times it can be less obvious. Clear indicators will be things like a dirty high vis or flame retardant clothing, but don't forget that safety clothing can be washed a minimum number of times and remain compliant. Check out my video on caring for PPE for more information. It's a well-known fact that if you crash whilst wearing a motorcycle helmet, you should replace it, even if the helmet looks intact. Well, the same is true for some types of PPE. The most obvious example would be hard hats, but perhaps less well known is safety footwear. In general, if PPE is protecting users from impact or crushing hazards and an incident occurs, that PPE should be removed and replaced immediately. Throughout my career testing footwear against impacts and compressions, I can tell you that it's almost impossible to tell from the outside if toe caps have sustained damage. It's not until you take the crushed or impacted toe caps out of the footwear that you can see how badly damaged they are. Let me show you what I mean. This toe cap has been subjected to a compression test where we apply 1.5 tons of pressure. As you can see from the outside, it looks undamaged. But if we take out the toe cap and compare it to a new one, you can clearly see that some damage has occurred. Now, if we were to test this again, likely it would fail. We've done this in the past, and trust me, it's not worth the risk. Because of this, it's vital that businesses and users of these types of PPE have a robust system of reporting incidents, no matter how trivial. Part of that process should be removing the PPE from use and issuing new versions. Once an incident has occurred, there's no guarantee that the footwear, hard hats or other types of impact and compression resistant PPE will protect to the same extent again. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Hopefully you've learned some useful information that will help keep you and your colleagues safe. See you next time, where I'll be talking about ways in which you can reduce the likelihood of slips, trips and falls within the workplace.